And speaking of different land packages, actually moving over to Michael Rowley, CEO of Group 10 Metals. Not only are you in Ontario and Yukon as well, but you're also in Montana. Can you speak a little bit about what you've been able to accomplish in 2018 for your company?
Absolutely. Thank you, Brandon. 2018, of course, our first year on the ground at our flagship Stillwater West project. We only started the acquisition last year in 2017. Completed the acquisition this year, brought together an enormous database, including over 28,000 meters of core and some terrific geophysics and survey work. We're still compiling that, and that is guiding our efforts. 2018 was our first season on the ground. Exciting year, lots of good results to follow. We did prospecting programs, a lot of data compilation effort, and began, most importantly, the modeling of the 28,000 meters of core in the database, including almost 12,000 meters of core in our possession, which we've now relogged and, where necessary, reassayed. And the key point there is that we're the first ones to bring in this Bushveld model, this Platte Reef model from the northern limb of the Bushveld, South Africa. So we've not only brought together the database and the team and the land position, but we're applying this new thinking, which is part of the Metallic Group's MO, if you will, in terms of how we advance these brownfields assets. So the potential that we see here is for the 100 million ounce Platte Reef style mineralization in the basal zones of Stillwater. What's remarkable about the opportunity is that hasn't really been looked at before, despite the similarities between the Bushveld and the Stillwater complexes. So 2018, an exciting year. We look forward to reporting the results from those programs. Some of the assays are in now. We're just now compiling them into the model, and news flow will be ongoing in the first weeks and months of 2019.
Now, for investors who aren't familiar with the Platte Reef style of mineralization what's the significance of that compared to other different variances that you would find when exploring?
Sure. The Platte Reef is a relatively recent discovery as a district in the iconic Bushveld complex of South Africa. The parallels between Stillwater and Bushveld are well known, and in fact, their development timelines are similar. Both had high-grade reef discoveries in the 20s through 1970s, and the development of those reefs to some degree eclipsed any other developments. And then in the 1990s in the Bushveld, you get the discovery of these larger lengths of disseminated mineralization in the Platte Reef district, which led to the development of Anglo-American's Ivanhoe-Mine, for example, which is a 200 and something million ounce PGE nickel copper producer, very economic operation. Adjoining that, you've got Ivanhoe's Platte Reef project, which is now in development by Ivanhoe. That potential has never been developed in the Stillwater complex, despite the known parallels between the two camps. And we have every indication of the data for that potential at Stillwater, and that has become our focus for development there.
And you recently had a news release come out speaking about a new zone. You call it the hybrid zone. And the reason for that is because it's a hybrid. There's many different metals that you are currently focusing on. When it comes to Stillwater, what commodities are you focused on, and which ones define your company?
Sure. The hybrid zone is within the Chrome Mountain target area, and that, in broad terms, fits within the bulk mineable targets that we're terming Platte Reef style. Being those 8 large target areas identified across the basal zone. We, in addition, have 6 high-grade reef-style targets, which is more conventional for the district. And when we say high-grade, we mean high-grade platinum group elements. The camp, of course, is known for the highest-grade palladium platinum mines in the world, with over 90 million ounces of past production and current reserves resources, which is staggering, actually, at half an ounce per ton. In terms of target metals, we have the platinum group metals, palladium and platinum. However, in the basal zones, there are also historic mines for nickel, copper, and chrome. And we're seeing significant potential for cobalt, vanadium, rhodium, and other elements as well that we'll be reporting on in 2019.
Now, Group 10 metals is newer in exploration than metallic minerals is. When it comes to 2019, what can investors be excited for and expect for different exploration programs, or just in general, where Group 10 metals will be taking itself as of the new year?
Well, we'll be at the trade shows in January and March. We invite your audience to come out and see us there. We'll have some of our best core on display. We'll be glad to show that off. Key events, I think, the results of the assays that we mentioned. I think the most engaging thing is going to be the results of the core modeling work that we've been doing, as we're the first ones to add that up in the context of this 25-kilometer wide property and the stratigraphy there, as we draw these parallels with the Bushveld and add this up for the first time in terms of where we are in the system and where we see potential for these very large polymetallic mines deposits.
So, Michael, if you don't mind, some people, they actually don't know that the Stillwater District is actually one of, if not the highest grade production of palladium in the world. How is Group 10 looking at that? And is it a big focus for you for next year?
Good question. Yeah, the Stillwater District is renowned for its palladium riches. It is half an ounce per ton, staggering grade. 10 million ounces past production plus 80 million ounces still in the ground in the JM Reef deposit. And that's open. That's just simply where they stopped drilling. It's a staggering wealth. Sibanye-Stillwater, of course, bought those mines in 2017 for $2.2 billion as we were making the acquisition there. And that we're above them and below them in stratigraphy of the system there. So it's very relevant to us. It speaks to the metal riches of the camp and the district. And that is the highest grade platinum palladium mine of any size in the world, and certainly outside of South Africa and Russia. It's a fantastic wealth. We certainly have palladium on our ground, and past explorers have focused on that. We have extended the basket to include the technology metals as well, plus some other ones. But as we discussed, it is a polymetallic system, and they occur together there. So what is currently happening in the palladium markets, with palladium rivaling gold as the most valuable precious metal, is very much of interest to us, and makes us one of very few options for investors looking for exposure to the palladium space.
Absolutely. And when it comes, again, back to an investor as well, if someone was to ask you why invest in Group 10 metals, what really stands out to you as something that's a differentiator and a possible fit for somebody that'll have the potential of appreciation in the near future?
Predictably, I see lots of upside. Seasonal for one thing, but it's our stage in our development on this project, right? We've just put this together. We've brought together a world-class team that includes Dr. Craig Bowe, who was underground at Stillwater in the 70s, and then Dr. David Broughton from Ivanhoe, who's a world-class expert on these bushveld systems, this hybrid zone mineralization. You add to that the database that we have and the news flow and the work that we're planning for 2019, I think we're at a very exciting stage on this project with a lot to reveal as we build it out over the next couple of years.
Well, I appreciate very much for you taking the time to allow investors to know a little bit more about your company and really speaking about Group 10 metals and what's in store for 2019 as well.